Hey guys, what's going on? We got another Enhancement Shaman PvP video. This time we are doing 3v3s with Unholy DK, Enhancement Shaman, and Holy Paladin. This comp isn't so bad. I mean, majority of it is Plum doing a lot of the damage because he's a DK. I definitely feel like my damage isn't quite there yet, but maybe I gotta play a different spec. I don't know. But anyways, we are doing this and it didn't go too bad. We are fighting a bunch of multi-glad, multi-rank ones as well. We ran into a lot of them, so frustrating, but it is what it is. And another thing, we only have 3 matches because these ones went forever. All these were like 5 to 6 minutes long. It was crazy. But anyways, let's get into this. First off, we have Elemental Shaman, Affliction Warlock, and Mistweaver. Our main focus is going to be the Affliction Lock, but again, if somebody's out of position or somebody is closest to us, we want to hit them, right? There's no point in blindly chasing somebody, in a sense, just to get beaten up by the other caster. Now also, your main interrupt is probably going to be the target you are not on, or the healer. The reason being is because your teammate, who is either a DK or most likely a warrior, is going to be interrupting the primary, and just so you can not overlap and maybe even stop enemy damage a little bit or enemy healing a bit too, very helpful. But you can see here, most of our goes in this comp is going to be grip, blind, into cap totem. It didn't work out a lot of times because people just easily seem to be killing the totem, which is quite unfortunate, but you know, there's not much you can do unless Blizzard fixes totems, which I think they should take a look at that because that is quite frustrating. But anyways, so you can see here we are mainly focusing and trying to drain the Mistweaver's mana as fast as possible. Now I believe Mistweavers have a great mana pool, although Holy Paladin just got buffed and Shook seems to be doing a lot of healing as well as conserving a significant amount of mana. Right here we probably should have made a swap onto the Ellie Shaman rather than hitting into Demonic Resolve. And now they are very close, but yeah, it would have been much better, and they grouped up. So it would have been a great cap totem if I had it, but quite unfortunate. And here is the lasso. There's nothing I can do, so you just kind of got to sit it. There's the blind, drop the cap totem, and oh, I must have dropped it too early. Oh man. But yeah, you can just see here, it's just very frustrating. I'm sure everybody knows the frustrations, especially when missing a kick. That is another thing I think they need to look at, is precognition. Understandable that the way it works is fine. It's just, if you have a short interrupt such as shamans, shouldn't precog scale with the interrupt quality? That might be very hard to code in a sense, but sometimes wind shear, especially if you can't land it like I can't, I really suck at it for whatever reason. I guess my my reaction time has fallen and stuff like that. It definitely does more harm than good. It definitely does. But yeah, anyways, you can see we get a lot of uptime because we have Plum on his DK, able to grip and pull, making for easy setups and stuff like that, making it very powerful. But the monk just seems to be able to have something for everything, right? So here we make a quick swap to the Elemental Shaman, and there he pops Astral Shift. So you can see Plum kind of coming back, but then we see the Warlock pushing in on us, so we're like, okay, let's go. And then there I should have had the Curse Dispel on Shook. Watching this back, there's a significant amount of mistakes, and I know. So just keep in mind, I am not claiming to be an amazing PvPer. I am your average shaman. But yeah, if you want to improve, definitely watch your gameplay back. And keep an eye on what you should look for as well. But here the monk pushes in, so I make a quick swap to him with Ascendance. Plum is still on the Ellie Shaman, and now you'll see here Plum will back off and go behind a pillar. I'm putting a lot of pressure on this Warlock. He backs off. Plum starts running behind the pillar, grips him. He dashes, so I knock him back in. And here we get a trinket and burrow, which is huge. I go for a hex on the healer, but I get interrupted, so that kind of sucks. But I get connected back again. Lasso, I trinket because I want to do damage, and we start getting another setup. there we put so much pressure on them, which was great. We pushed a lot on top of them. So here the monk starts backing off a little bit more, but they're still grouped up, meaning we get a massive cleave. And this is also Plum's burst window too, because you can see his A-bomb limb going. And now we just have a significant amount of pressure. There's Cocoon gone. The only thing left is revival for them. So we have the upper hand right now, even though both healers, even Shuck's and the Mistweaver is almost doom, which is quite close. But you can just see, like, this was definitely draining with how long this freaking match went for. But I get an Ascendance proc, and we were just able to finish them off, thankfully, because I did not want to play this match anymore. It is so frustrating. And doing 5 to 6 minutes is insane just for a little bit of rating. Here we have another good one. This is Fury Warrior, Frost Mage, Holy Paladin. Our main target is going to be the Frost Mage. But again, it is definitely frustrating trying to catch a Frost Mage because of how mobile they are. So there, I was able to get a Hex off, and the Mage does not have a Dispel for some reason. So we get a lot of pressure. There's the first Ice Block. Massive. Now he gets topped off real fast. No issues there from the other healer. So we're able to keep connecting. Plum makes it really easy for me to connect. I'm trying to purge off his Alter Time. Excuse me. Trying to get his magical effects off so we can catch him. But I'm burning through a lot of mana. This is one scenario where I'd kind of prefer having Greater Purge in a sense, so I could press it off cooldown and get everything removed. But, you know, quite unfortunate. So you can see here we're putting a lot of pressure. I get an Ascendance proc. There's the Disarm. There's the bop. So I start spamming Purge in hopes to get it. Got it off finally. Putting even more pressure on this Mage. Making sure I'm using my defensive because they are bursting. You can see it by the Warrior's Blade Storm. Go for a Hex here. Get interrupted by the Warrior. And I think I go for another one. Eat the Mage hack or interrupt. So now Shook is free to cast whatever he wants as well. And then I'm going for another Hex. But he blinds me with Searing Blade, which was super frustrating. I hate that ability. But here we're able to make another connection onto the Mage. And when you're against a Mage, he's going to either cast in Frost or Arcane. Don't interrupt his Ring of Fire because there's no point. Ring of Fire is pointless to interrupt because he's not going to be casting much for fire. Here we get another setup. Get a lot of damage, but he's able to just quickly heal that up. No problems there, unfortunately. The Paladin starts pushing in on Shook. So we can see that coming. There's the Hodge. I'm getting ready to interrupt any Repentance if he wants to go for it. Put a lot of pressure on the Warrior, forcing him to heal rather than repent, which is great. And we get a whole lot of cooldowns. So that's Bubble. That is the Warrior's defensive. But we still have to get through one more block from the Mage, which is quite unfortunate. I did miss the Repentance on Shook from the Paladin, unfortunately. But we are still connected to the Frost Mage, which is very important. And he's going for Polys. We miss a Interrupt, which is quite unfortunate. So again, like, precog is definitely one of the biggest menace, especially if you're like not kicking very well. You know what I mean? It's frustrating. So he has Alter Time. I could purge, but I don't have the mana to do so. But we get a nice blind triple stun setup. Big damage right here with Bloodlust. There's invisibility, and here comes the block right there. Perfect. Now we switch to the Warrior, start beating him up because the Mage now has nothing, and now the Mage is back up away from block. So we're back on top of him, trying to do as much damage as possible. I'm also trying to keep an eye on the Paladin, making sure I can interrupt if I can, if the Mage isn't going for any polys. So here, Plum makes a grip, wants to do a quick little swap to the Paladin, which is fine. I'm trying to dodge his Searing Glare, which is great. I did. Perfect. Get a huge amount of damage. He bops. I start putting even more pressure on him. There's the lasso. He trinkets. So now we just switch to the DPS. Doesn't matter which one, neither of them have cooldowns, but we're going to choose the Frost Mage just because he's got nothing left and he's a lot squishier. There's Bop, big damage, boom, Frost Mage gone. Thankfully, another frustrating comp to fight, but we definitely have some, solid combination in this team comp, with grip. It's kind of like Frost DK Dev Evoker in a way, just not as powerful. Again, I am playing the Storm build too, but I'm really not sure. Here, I am playing the Elementalist Totemic, and I mean full Elementalist, going all the way down Splinter Elements, no doom winds or anything, just pure elementalist. And this was actually quite an interesting one. The reason why is you'll see at the end, but I failed a lot due to allowing the druid to drink. Make sure you don't allow that. Here we go. We got to set up a little bit. Although I capped totem way too early, so I didn't have the cooldown. But we get a lot of pressure on this warrior, forcing a lot of cooldowns. Okay. Dev is back. Druid's up. Druid's in the fray, so we're going to hit him a little bit. Just get a little bit of damage, scare him off. You know, force him to switch his hots up. That's one thing with the Druid. I also don't have Greater Purge, which I do incentivize, or I recommend you use Greater Purge against Resto Druids, so that way you don't silence yourself and you're not just sitting there spamming. Dev Evokers, again, you're going to have a very frustrating time against them because they can't be slowed or anything like that. And they seem to have even more hover charges, which is odd. But here, the Druid had me in Cyclone. It's quite frustrating, but I wasn't able to do anything. I was able to interrupt him one time. There I saw a Sleepwalk go off, but I grounded it, catching it. But I wasn't able to interrupt the Cyclone because I wasn't paying enough attention. Very key to pay attention against Resto Druids because they are especially aggressive ones. They are always going to go for those Cyclones on your healer and stuff like that. But if you are going to interrupt anything too on the Dev Evoker, it'll either be Sleepwalk or Disintegrate. Though that should shut down their damage for a little bit and allow you to survive. So here, there's the Sleepwalk. I go ahead and Tremor. Shook gets a nice Hodge on the Paladin. But we're just doing massive damage to this warrior, trying to get it, because chasing after a Dev Evoker is an absolute nightmare. But we are trying to make our way towards him so we can hit him and not just, you know, blindly let him free cast in a sense like that. We want to make sure we're putting pressure on him so we get even more defensives and stuff. So that way, when the time comes, the Druid has no option to heal anybody. So here, Iron Bark is on the warrior, but I kind of want to hit him at the same time, just keep a bit of damage. Dev Evoker is now low, switching to him, getting my Lashing Flames up, getting my dots up and stuff like that. There's a Sleepwalk onto Shook, but unfortunately he has to Trinket because I don't have Tremor. Hitting the warrior again because I know the Dev Evoker has full hots, but at the same time I am just trying to spread the damage, forcing the Resto Druid. As you can see, he is basically forcing him to spread his hots around, and while keeping an eye on this Dev Evoker too because he's really annoying. There's a Sleepwalk. So here he Shadow Melts and Stealths. I should have had my eye on him to drop a Root Totem. Right there, got him, but it was a little bit late because as you can see he was able to get about a quarter of his mana back. Quite unfortunate, but you know, it was enough in the end. But here, a lot of pressure going out on me. I have nothing left, so I am grounding using my Maelstrom Spender and then using my heal as well. I do have Burrow still. There's Lay on Hands. I still have Burrow just in case if I need it. I don't want to use it, but here the warrior is very aggressive, going LOS away from his healer, but his healer was actually able to get a stealth and start drinking again, so he just put a lot of pressure since I had no idea where he was. Shook gets a nice Hodge onto the Druid as he comes out of stealth with Innervate, so that shut down a lot of mana generation from him. But now we get a full setup, drop the Cap Totem, Bloodlust, big damage. I'm hitting the Druid right now because I think that might be the best in a sense, but I get disarmed, so there was no point in following up with that. But here, the Dev Evoker goes for another sleep. I burrow. I saw the sleep coming, so I just went ahead and burrowed because, well, there's no point in taking damage when I shouldn't be, in a sense. So here, the Druid pushes in on me, but Plum kind of chases after him a little bit, bringing him in. I'm just getting beaten up by both of these DPS, trying to survive what I can. And then they do a final push onto Shook in a minute, which is crazy. But yeah, as you can see, the Dev Evokers just seem to always have a defensive and always have hover. I don't understand it. But you can see my damage isn't too bad, but again, like, it definitely feels super lackluster compared to the other ones. But here we switch to the warrior real quick because we can't touch the Dev Evoker, and the Resto Druid is able to drink once again, and they lined up their CCs to prevent us from stopping him. But here, the warrior pushes right back in on me, so I start pulling him away, trying to heal Shook a little bit, making sure that he can stay alive, but forcing the warrior back. We almost get him down. 5%. He gets a shockwave off and is able to survive that. So I peel off, try and go for the evoker, but he doesn't quite come around the corner. So here we get another quick little grip together. Nothing too serious. The druid has gone for another drink and I got no idea where he is. Right in the middle. As Ironbark, Plum gets a nice silence. He has to trinket that, which is great. So all of these guys, there's the final wall of the evoker. Nobody has anything for their team now. That's everything gone for them, which is great for us. So here, Dev Evoker goes for a stun, gets on top of Shook. They both start rushing him, which is quite unfortunate. But Druid goes for another drink. I think Plum was able to stop that one, seeing as where he landed. Dev Evoker is just soloing Shook because Dev Evokers can do that. But you can see here, Shook starts falling, gets shockwaved and falls over. But Plum gets a nice silence or blind here. I get a double or triple cap totem and we just blast them down. But yeah, guys, that is it for this video. Hopefully you enjoyed. Hopefully you are having better luck with enhancement than I am. Let me know what kind of builds you're running. And yeah, but anyways, thanks so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed and hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Laters!